Kindertap calendars can be used for two purposes. On the one hand, to plan private events such as meetings with suppliers or with families. On the other, to schedule events that can be shared with families and for which you can collect reservations. To start using this function, click on Calendar on the side menu. The calendar presents with a weekly view and shows all the scheduled events that are organized in different calendars. One of the first things to say is that Kindertap allows you to manage multiple calendars and to group events by calendar. You can have, for example, a calendar for private appointments and one for public meetings. By clicking on the drop-down menu at the top right, you can change the calendar view. Choosing the planning view, you can see all the events divided by day in the form of a list. Let's see now how to add a new calendar. We can press the plus button next to calendars, enter the name of the calendar, assign a color so that you can quickly recognize events, and for each calendar you can enable the possibility to share events with families and allow families to book events. To add a new event, select the reference calendar on the left and click on Add Event, or simply click and drag the mouse in the time you want to add it. You can assign a title to each event. You can specify if it's an all-day event, or differently, enter the start and end time and you can add a description. If you are interested in sharing the new event with families, you can also add an attachment, for example, the poster of the course. If you want to share the event only with some children of the school, you can select one or more classes. The last two options, sharing with families and events booking by families, represent the calendar settings for that particular event. If the calendar to which this event belongs did not have these two options active, the two ticks would be disabled. If you have enabled the booking of events by families, then you can also specify the period of time in which families can book them and the maximum number of participants. In this example, let's suppose that a maximum number of 10 children can enroll in the swimming course. You can find the bookings collected in this space below and you can also manage them manually. You can vary the event planning by dragging it with the mouse in the calendar or vary its duration by acting on the lower or upper edge of the event. By pressing the icon at the top of the event box, you can duplicate the event and once duplicated, you can reschedule it by dragging it in the calendar. In addition to being able to duplicate the single event, you can also copy all the events scheduled for the day. If you want to see only the events of a particular calendar, you can hide the others by unchecking the calendar list. In addition to the calendars entered by you, Kindertap also adds a virtual calendar called Birthdays, which includes all the birthdays of the internal staff, parents, and children. To conclude, let's take a look at what is the view of the parent. Clicking on Calendar, parents will see all the events planned and shared with them. Clicking on Book, parents will see all the bookable events. You can see that the event called Pediatric First Aid Course doesn't appear in all events list, but only in the book section. This means that for this event, sharing with families has not been enabled. Once the parent makes the reservation, this event will also be present in all events, despite the sharing was not enabled. Then, summarizing, in the All Events list, parents will display all the shared events and the events for which they have already made the reservation. For each shared or bookable event, parents will receive a push notification on the app, and from the app they can also consult and book the events.